I managed that. Let's put the music. Yeah. We've got some new hardware this week. Bear with me. I hope you can hear me. I hope you're well where you are. Yeah, you're not complaining. Oh, okay. Let's try that. Is that better? Is the audio better? Are we good? Yes, we have new hair. Hello from Cumbria. Yeah, the music's still good. It's meant to. It's too loud though. I'll knock it down. Getting a bit cocky at this, aren't we? Yes, we are. Yeah, hope you're well. A bit quiet. You all said I was doubled up. Are we better now? Are we a bit louder now? Oh wow, it's really too quiet. Okay, how about now? How about now? Oh, so I turned the two back on again. It's my natural colour. Hope you're all well. Is this comfortable to listen to? I'll just turn this music off for now. Okay, nice and abrupt, yes. Nice and abrupt. There we go. Hello, hello. Welcome one and all. Come in, come in. Good to see you tonight, today, tomorrow, wherever you are. Is this sounding better now? Is this a comfortable listen? Much better, right? So I've got two things up. Who knows what's going on? So new hardware. Thank you very much. And for those of you who are new, so it takes a village. Yeah, you get the standard spiel. You're going to get it every week. You're going to get it. I'm going to try and make it a little bit shorter. Going to try and make it a little bit shorter. Sorry if I hurt ears. I'll work on that. This is all very new setup. Thought a bit cocky today. Thought I'd try it on your computer, as you do. Thank you for joining. Hope you're all good. Thank you to the mods, as ever. They are rather wonderful, wonderful human beings. They will look after you. They will also swing a band hammer if you're naughty, so don't be naughty. Please don't subscribe. Jeff doesn't need the money, and I don't need the money. I've got Streamily now. Streamily's really good. You can get Carlac art and Thomasina art, and I sign it. And you can request things for me to sign. Just don't be silly, because then I write something silly. But I've got that. It's all good. Don't worry about it. This is fun. This is free. This is educational. This is joy. Especially tonight. You're going to love tonight. Thank you to everyone who does subscribe. I do appreciate it. It goes into things like getting brand new laptops. That's some of me too. It's time. What was happening? I was on a Mac, and like if there was a raid and the emojis go off, it would just lag. Like the graphics card. I don't know why. I thought that was all happening on a server somewhere else, but apparently that's happening here. Who knows? But now I've got a monster machine. It's an Acer. It's on sale. And your subscriptions helped towards that, so thank you very much. I am an actor. I already feel like a commodity. I don't wish to play into the parasocialism of Twitch streaming, so I'm not going to be asking you for cash. I've also wanted to give half my money away to charity, but after Twitch take 50% and the taxman takes their percentage, I'd actually only get about 30% final to split with myself and the charity, and that's just crap, isn't it? Because last month, and you're from all over the world, you raised so much money for Mind Charity, which is based in England and Wales, not even the UK. You did it was just beautiful. Its final total was £4,775. That's 6,050 $6,050 American style. Other currencies are available. It's a lot of money, and I'm really, 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 really appreciate it. And Mind reached out to me and were like, "Who are you? What's going on?" So they were very impressed. Yeah, thank you from the bottom of our little hearts for that. So it's about to be February. It's February in some parts of the world, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? It's International LGBTQ History Month, and it's also US Black History Month. So I've tried to incorporate both into this month's charity, and that's the Trans Empowerment Project. They do rather wonderful work. I've heard of them through US friends who do fundraisers. It's just real amazing work for some of the most marginalized people in the States. And as I said, most of you are in the States, so I'm going to honor that too. Yeah, I'm going to just quickly show a little video if I can. So getting a little bit cocky, so just bear with me. A little promo video, just to show you a little bit about the charity, and I'll introduce the guest. So bear with me.
one of the coolest parts of the work that I'm doing right now is the fact that we're actually getting enough attention and help and support to be able to really help our clients. So every so often I get a chance to do a little bit extra for somebody. And so today is going to be that day. So I've been going through our assistance application. It looks like we have about 15 people that have not been contacted in the last week or so. So I'm going to try to catch us up a little bit. I found this client who recently had top surgery, has lost some weight, and is looking for clothing and a few other things. And I reached out to see what kind of additional help he needed. As we were talking, he let me know that he is renting a room somewhere and does not have access to any kind of cooking, which is unfortunately not uncommon of our clients. However, he is renting a room and does have a job and is, in a space where he's trying to get these things. I'm going to get him a new microwave, and I'm also going to get him a little mini fridge for his place, on top of getting him groceries and set up for about a week. Hey, it's Jack. How's it going?
Good. Thanks so much for giving me a call.
When I was talking to you and listening to the stuff that you needed, I wanted to do something a little bit extra. I hope you got plenty of room in your car, because I bought you a mini fridge and a microwave.
Oh, wow. You don't know how much it means to me. I have been in such a bad situation for so long, and I finally found somebody who let me rent a room so I can save money. Thank you so much. I have less than $100 in the bank right now. This means so much to me. Thank you so much. I don't know what I can do to thank you. I have tears in my eyes. Like, thank you so much. Like,
I'm glad that we were able to help you today. We'll get you taken care of.
Isn't that rather wonderful? So I thought, let's do that for a month. Yeah, so we're going to do that. That's what we're going to do. And if you've got a spare bit of cash, we have this corner, a QR code. We have, if you're on desktop, there's a Tiltify pop-up. And also we have the commands charity, if you want to know a bit more about them. And if you know exactly what you're giving to, you've got the donate button. I think that's it. I'm going to introduce our guest. And our guest is going to talk a little bit more about charity. So let's hope this all pops up. Hello, Leon. I think.
Here? Am I
Yes,
not?
can
Am
you
I
hear me?
here?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear all the things that are going wrong tonight.
We're doing fine. We're doing.
I'm doing all right. The delay is on my side. It's all I can see everyone complaining. Quick. Right, I shall introduce you. So this is Leon Killin. He is the head of inclusion and belonging at Sumo Group and founder of Balance Patch Games Consultancy. Leon is a gay trans man with a background in academia and social activism, now working in the games industry. He's also a writer and consultant, producing narrative-driven fictional pieces for video games, comics, and short story anthologies, and is a member of the Writers Guild of Great Britain's Games Committee. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm like new to the Spangled Twitch thing, so I'm like, ooh. And if you hear whooping in the background, I promise it is a dog. It is my dog. I might even do a sneaky cameo of her.
I think
Do we want
you
dog?
have to. It's the dog tax. Yeah, I think
Dog
so.
tax.
If you could.
There she is. Having a dig.
Oh,
Not the best shot, but hey.
digging through the ground. Wonderful. And before we sort of get into this, I know you've done a bit of research on the Trans Empowerment Project for tonight's show. Did you want to take it away?
A little bit. So, it's such a genuine honor to be here for It Takes a Village this month particularly, and as we're sort of leading into February and whatnot. As Sam mentioned, I am a gay trans man, so Trans Empowerment Project is near and dear to my heart. Could you not dig while I'm trying to do a thoughtful piece? The Trans Empowerment Project is moving the trans community out of crisis and into empowerment by working to improve access to vital resources, ensuring that our most marginalized community members, disabled, two-spirit, trans, intersex, and gender expansive, Black, Indigenous, and people of color can thrive and live their best lives. And the Trans Empowerment Project's agendas is really simple. Educate allies, empower community, ensure we all thrive, which I think is just beautiful and really, really pleased, proud honoured to say, give them your money if you can, give them a shout out if you don't have the cash to do so. Just every little helps in every direction.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you. I've read a little bit into them, and it's great to see that direct action, like we saw, but also they're moving in at the legal level, because as we know, that the rights are just given and taken away depending on who's in office, and none of this seems to be safe. You think that something's been voted into law and it's fine, and it isn't. So I think particularly this month, when we do remember LGBTQ folk throughout history, we can also remember the ones that are today living it in real time, like the rest of us. So yeah, I'm really glad that I found this charity through the Super Deluxe Games cast, who humiliated themselves for many hours. I thought, I won't do that. What I'll do is I'll buy a new machine and debut it. It's my own psychological humiliation. Anyway, thank you very
We are
much
but guinea
again.
pigs.
We are all the guinea pigs tonight. I haven't been yelled at too much, so I'm okay. But people are distracted by the hair, so it's all good. So
They
hope it all
They
works
love
in
the hair.
This is the natural colour. My mother will be so happy when she sees it. On to you, my lovely. Yeah, so a bit like some of our other guests, you've had quite a journey. You've been in different careers. Maybe we start with gaming. Like, were you a gamer as a child? What sort of thing were you into?
Oh gosh,
Or
yeah.
did that come later?
No, it came very early. I remember, I can't remember the name of the game off the top of my head, but I remember kind of black and teal PC screen gaming. That sort of before the Nintendo
David
NES,
Tentacle.
that kind of like
Someone in chat will know, so just give them
someone
time.
chat. Yeah, it's like a little weird platformer with little weird guys. I posted about this on Twitter like a year ago, and
That's
completely
before
left.
before Day the Tentacle. You're talking like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
This is my
Sword games
dad's.
I was playing. Yeah.
So back in the day, but I've been gaming since I was about 5 years old, and so NES through to then Sega arrived, and Sonic the Hedgehog was my boy. Never looked back. First paid job was at GameStation, which is UK's equivalent to GameStop. No longer exists. RIP. I was at the time, I think, a fairly familiar experience. At the time, I was the only girl working there, and it was a time. So maybe we'll get into some tales later. But
Yeah, this is your place to vent, if you like.
like looking back on my years, like literally my 18th birthday, started working there. Was there for the World of Warcraft Burning Crusade launch. I'm aging myself here, so now you know exactly how old I am.
You might have just been a child working in there for work experience, right?
It's the testosterone that makes me younger than I am.
It is.
It is. And from there, I did moved to London, went to university, loved university. I tell lies, actually. I attempted university 3 times. I make it sound like I sailed through. No, I struggled.
What
Went to
did you
university. When I finally did it, I did a degree in social and cultural studies. So I had a focus particularly on things like digital communities and cultural studies. My dissertation was on how hot various robotic suits are to us. So I wrote about Bubblegum Crisis, I wrote about Iron Man, that kind of thing. Had a lot of fun with that. And then I did a master's degree in sexual dissidence, which is actually a queer and global studies master's degree. I worked in academia for a few years, several years actually, in various sort of inclusion, disability support type roles, pastoral, mental health. Got tired of higher education and was sadly sitting at home going, oh, what will I do? Where will I go? And completely forgot that people make games somehow. And
this seems to be something where everyone is saying on this. It's like, I played all these games and I didn't realize that people made them, and you could be employed to make them. So welcome to the club.
Yeah, I'm stuck here now. So
yay!
Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, maybe we'll talk about how I fell into late games industry a bit later. But that's the short version. Bit of academia, bit of on the
Sure.
ground.
So, what I mean, Was it a case of discovering that there were roles for you in games, or was it just some? What's the story? What's going on there?
So
Because you knew you
I
liked games and you were 5, and
yes,
then you
yes.
didn't go straight into it. I mean, I don't think anyone does now doing a few of these.
No, and I think the thing for the thing that I think took some getting to learn about. Oof, what is that? What I had to discover, I think, was to my impression, my very kind of basic understanding of the games industry was, oh, you have to be able to code, or you have to be an artist, and I was neither of these. Like, I am, unfortunately, I am a parody gay. I'm bad at maths. I do not drive. I need a nice coffee. It's awful. I go to London. I'm like, get out of the way. I'm gay. It's embarrassing, and I'm embarrassed of myself.
And
And
yet, the
but I
games
know.
industry in the UK is 24% of the rainbow.
Yes. And it took me a little while to kind of realize that there was other quadrants for me. So I remember I was very sad at my previous job at the end. I was very, very, very low, very sad place. And I'm a big fan of Guild Wars 2. I'm a big fan of ArenaNet. I love them so much. And I heard that the narrative team was coming to EGX Rezzed, and I went, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go and see I'm gonna go see him. I'm gonna go see him. I'm gonna listen to what they have to say. And while I was waiting around, there was this panel, this sort of discussion panel, which was like, diversity in the industry. And I'm like, oh, I've got time. And I sat down, and there was a panel of lovely human beings, all talking about their various sort of intersectional experiences in games. And I was like, there are gays here? There, what? They're
They're everywhere. They're sitting all around me.
They walk amongst us. And I went up and I chatted to them. I said, "Look, I'm looking to move industries. What's this all about? How do I get in? What do I do? Let me in,
Let me
mean
in.
style."
Yeah, I hear you.
And then you happened, actually.
I think me and a couple of others, but yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Like, oh, but you remember how we met, right? Like that was instrumental.
Yeah, so where was it? It was the Tentacle
It was
Zone.
it was Payload Studios.
And I just took one look at you and knew you needed to work in the industry. It was
No,
you
what?
just sort
No,
of shine. You
you
do
did, but
shine with goodness and love and empathy. And you were thinking about it. You were miserable at your job and you were
yeah,
thinking about moving. And it was like, yes, do it now. I'm going to stand over you until you get a job. I'm not going in.
it,
And there was a couple of
this
us
is
as
true.
well.
No, it was very true.
There was a
I had
couple
a glorious
gently
but
bullied you into the
yes, you
industry. And
did, but
thankfully, you don't regret it.
I don't. But it's also, you said like, oh, I saw you, and I had to have you. I remember word for word what you said because I was we were there super early. It was basically just
Yeah.
two of us, and I sat like Billy No Mates. I was like, I don't know anyone, don't know anything. I'm just here for this talk. I'm just happy to be here. And you looked at me. You came over. And you went, mate, no offense, but you look like a weirdo. So am I. I think we're going to be friends. Like that was your greeting.
I'm sure I didn't outright call you a
You
weirdo.
did.
Really?
with love
Was
and
I
affection, and
half?
I cracked up. No, I think because
Okay.
I kept glancing at you, and we were sort
I'm
of.
actually offended by myself. I apologise. If I
No,
actually
I
said
love
that. I
it.
don't think I
It's
said
one of
that.
my dearest memories. Like, don't you ever take that back.
I need to go pro. Just so I can prove it. See what I actually come out with. I don't say that anymore. If I used to say that anymore. Well, it
I'd be
works.
jealous if you did.
The
I thought it was
ends
special.
justify the means. Yeah, I don't think that's so charming. That's not impressed with myself at all.
I loved it. I
But
loved it. You
then
picked
you
your
did,
reads.
and like now knowing a bit more about like the years you spent in academia and really understanding intersectionality, it is perfect for what you ended up going to, which was starting your own company, Balance Patch, right? Was
Yeah,
that the move? What was
it
that
was
like?
the
Because
move.
then you were straight from I guess being fully full-term employment to what for the first time maybe freelance.
It was
What was that
terrifying.
like?
Terrifying. And I'll tell you what, I did the best, most intelligent thing anyone could ever do. I decided, like, right, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to quit my job. It's coming up to conference season. I'm going to network. I'm going to get clients. It's going to be great. So I quit my job first week of March 2020.
I was supposed to be employed around mid-March 2020 and they changed their minds and said, sucks to be you. Yeah. I was about
Yeah,
6 months behind you, wasn't I, in the end? But yeah.
that was a wild time. Wild time. I was like, ugh, hindsight.
I mean, who could have seen that coming? I mean, what did I do in the summer that year? I went, I'll do a small conference on roles in games, a sort of like more formal version of what this is. Because before we know it, we'll be back to normal. So I sort of shot that one quite early on, but there you go. Didn't bake any bread after that. I was done. I thought I've done my bit. I'm just gonna do
Oh, I
nothing
didn't
for
get
the
the
next
bread.
couple of years. I didn't do any of that. No, that was my version of baking bread. Was running a small games conference and go, oh, never again.
Yeah,
It was
it's tough.
pleasurable,
It's
but
tough.
it was hard logistically. And then me on my little map and my free Zoom account going, can someone help me with this? But no, I love doing it, and it gave me a taste for these sort of talks, because I mean that was just for people that work with human voices. That was the idea. So we had writers, casting directors, because we had Andrew from the Writers Guild of Great Britain on, and that was I felt like quite a scoop because
God,
he
Andy
really
is
knows
so
his shit.
lovely.
He's so good.
So lovely.
Yeah, so that and it was basically just people I worked with going, you're doing nothing. Let's come in, and it was just like, I think the actor has an experience of outside of games is everyone's got their one hat and that's what they do and they do it really well. And then they go into games and they get a bit confused because they probably don't know it's a developer. So they'll go, why is this director like just getting me to copy what they're saying? Because it's a dev who's never directed an actor before. So like, it was a bit of education about like, what do you do? What do you need? How do we work together better? So this feels like an extension of that. And you, dear viewer, are a captive audience member. So thought, why not? But this time, let's get people from all over the games industry in, because I've been doing socials for such a long time and I love it. And it's not done by role, it's done by vibe. We're just mates from all over. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's not like, hopefully it's not
yeah.
all the community managers in one corner. I mean, it's definitely the actors in one corner, but we
Oh
do it
yeah.
spread out as well. I don't know, it
I
happens in
mean,
sort of
you and the
small.
actors did kind of like initially kind of go, one of us, one of us. Like, I'm not, but I will be. Like,
You will
I
be.
love this. I'll come and hang out. Like,
Someone wanting
come
to
hang out with us.
someone wanting to make it and the terms and the conditions better.
Yes,
Yes, you will join.
come join us. Come over
You
here.
will
No,
make my life better. Yes,
but
it's
you're
all
right.
good.
It's
No, it's
like all across all kinds of roles. Like I know that the industry can sometimes be a trash fire. I know that there's bad stuff. Like I'm not, this is not sunshine and roses. There's rough stuff in our industry, but it also is filled with some of the most generous, lovely, kind, considerate bastards I've ever met in my life. Like just I'm always so awe-inspired by just the loveliness. So all the kind of it sort of makes the rough stuff that we traverse through a little easier because there are genuinely just spectacular humans in here in this industry. Like I wouldn't
they really
trade it
are.
for the world.
They really are. It's the sort of friendliest work community. I mean, I'm not technically working with these people, but they're industry events, and people are so friendly and they will introduce you to people. I don't really
Yes.
know. We just all do it instinctively. I think if you weren't like that, you just wouldn't last very long.
Have you met such and such?
You
Oh, have you
just
met such
wouldn't.
and
Yeah,
such?
yeah. Oh, we know
It's all.
everyone. Who do you want to
Yeah,
meet? It's great. And then there's the people in the suits that make our lives hell, and they're not there. They're not
yeah.
at the party. So there's this dichotomy between like, because half of the talk here is, industry sucks, unregulated unions, whatever. And then others on a personal level is some of the most joyous interactions that I've ever had in my life. Like I've just had the best times with you lot. It's just amazing. And then when we do something like Brighton, it's just a big party and like
Oh, I
it's
love.
so natural, and of course you're networking because you're
Yeah.
talking to people and of course you're always looking for a job, but it's not forced in any way, and it's just really pleasurable. It's just really great, and I'm glad we bullied you in a nice way into the industry, and that's what I'm going with. Um, how did this work then? Because I remember I did some very basic, with completely unqualified diversity inclusion work for events for just a couple of annual events. And it was an empathy exercise because I'd benefited in tech when I was in tech from sort of scholarship enterprises, and they were always very, I mean, they want your face on the front of the website, they want you to write a glowing review, and I just banned that immediately. I was like, no, if you're taking photos, you're taking photos of everyone and everyone's mixed in together. That's the whole point of inclusion. So it was done by feel, but I would have never have gone into the business of it. I also know that a lot of the time there might have been an incident, and that's why you're being invited in. I think there's a lot of fighting fires maybe with the role. I'm just sort of trying to work out how it works. How do you pitch yourself, or are you ready to put that fire out when somebody calls you?
I mean, well, just dropping things everywhere. That's how I put fires out. I just throw stuff. Like, ah! No, it's very. I mean, I've been doing this kind of stuff for nearly 15 years. In a roundabout sort of way. I've done street level activism. I've done occupations in the past. Proper sit-ins, all that kind of things that were very grassroots community style resistance. But I've also done the sort of infrastructural sort of things when you encounter when I was coming out strands, the infrastructure wasn't ready. So I was
Mm.
constantly being misgendered. I was constantly, change my name, and Microsoft would do an update. No offense, Microsoft, but they do an update, and the Office would update, and then my dead name would be there, and I'd be like, it would be on my, it was. So I had to learn, unfortunately, to be really robust, and
Mm.
I kind of learned the law as it related to being trans, and I went from, excuse me, it'd be really nice if you could perhaps maybe use the right to, hi, my name is this. You're using this name. This name is incorrect. The Equality Act 2010, and getting really comfortable with saying, I know my rights. You're in breach of them. How are we going to fix this? All right, here are some ways to fix this. And I just became an irritant, a professional irritant, and
That's
built
what
that
should be
sort
on the
of
CV, by the way. Professional irritant.
T-shirt
and
on
and
on
head of
LinkedIn.
inclusion and belonging.
Yeah, so I know because I can see you in the chat. I know I've got some colleagues here. They know, they know I'm a professional irritant.
Drop some
Um,
tea in the chat if you're here. None of it makes it to YouTube. You can write whatever you want.
like what happens on Twitch stays on Twitch, sort of.
It does.
But but I think this work is it's a I would say it's a mixed bag. I say I have 15 years experience in various different kind of contexts, various different environments, from charity to union work to corporate sector, and they're all slightly different, and it's all a bit of patchwork just to try and make things a little bit different, a little bit better, and in whatever ways you can. And you know when it comes to things like, oh, a bad thing has happened, can you parachute in and fix it? My answer is often no. Actually, I can come in and help from this point, and we can move forward from this moment, but I cannot fix what you've done. And one person is not going to fix what has
Mm.
happened. So, within this sort of discipline, I'd say we call it, is it's very time-based work. It takes a lot of time. It's when I'm putting my kind of like my pitch voice on, I try not to talk about it in terms of like, diversity, equity, and inclusion, but I will say things like, I work in, employment advocacy and change management and strategic leadership with a focus on inclusion, with high level critical thinking skills, with risk assessment components involved. It can be quite high level stuff that
Mm.
when people say, oh, you're a bit expensive for someone who does just like pronouns and wokeness. And I'm like, yo, I wish it was just that. And trying to
Yeah.
like take that education piece along, saying actually no, this can be quite
I
high
love
level
that
stuff.
you've I
Hmm.
love that you've removed those dog whistles though. Because once people hear diversity inclusion, I can imagine people coming. How does this work though, right? So you're freelance. How do you get yourself out there? How do you get known? Is it word of mouth?
So when I
Is it just a
was
very good website?
when I was freelancing, it was I can only kind of speak in that kind of weird liminal pandemic moment. So everything was kind of online.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was lucky, and I'm always gonna say, like, I am positioned quite um, in quite a privileged intersection. I am white, I am masculine passing, um, I'm pretty friendly, I'm pretty confident, I speak well, I'm eloquent, and all these things that I'm educated. All these things helped, and and it's that plus luck, right place, right time, knowing the right person who comes up to you and says you're weird in a place. No, it's meeting certain folks where you're saying, hey, I do this, and you get chatting, and then sometimes an opportunity comes to you to come and speak, so then that gets you a foot in the door. It's sometimes studios reaching out to you and say, hey, we want to work on, say, often piecemeal type work. Hey, we want to write a policy on, a diversity policy. We want to write a piece of trans inclusion support. We want a strategy. We want some employee resource group or community support, and they'll tend to come with a la carte type this, that. Can you come do a talk? It's Trans Awareness Week. Do you want to come and do a talk? And from there, you kind of build portfolios, or it might be things like, hey, we've got a narrative piece that we want some extra eyes on. We've got a trans character we want someone to look at. So it can be, it's getting your presence out there. It's talking to people. This is a small, big industry, and everyone kind of knows everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't imagine you have much competition either. So then it becomes a case of becoming known and people valuing. At the time, did you get in there first, Leon?
I think so. Not first, because I think I was at the right curve. Because the sort of, talking serious business, we had Black Lives Matter and George Floyd, and there was a big push, sort of, not just within our industry, but sort of external, tech, etc. Quick, chief diversity officer, quick, get a team.
We have my God, to have diversity.
We have to diverse. So there was a lot of panic for that, and an upsurge in people doing that. And now I think we're seeing a bit of a pullback, a bit of a step back. I've got thoughts and feelings about
it. But in games, express them. That's what we're here for.
Well, I mean, I think part of it was that sort of, breaking down what it is. We're saying, like, we take the dog whistle away. It's like, okay, if I feel like Ely Moose recently was like, DEI must die, and I'm like, who are you? But besides that, DEI has become the kind of like, oh, that's just wokeness and pronouns. We don't need to pay attention to that. So we have to change that narrative. And yes, exactly. So some changes I think are happening at the moment.
Psychological safety is a nice to have. That's what we like. Yeah. So from there, you then went to full-time employment.
I did. I was.
Would that creep up on you, or was that something you would have preferred? Maybe the security of that.
I mean, at the time, yes, and it still is the case. Like, touch wood, we're doing all right at Sumo right now. Touch wood, everything is fine. And at the time, I was working with several clients, pieces here and there, and building that portfolio, building that client base. And I was working with Sumo on our ERG work. So if you look on any of my socials, I'm very, very proud of our employee resource group, Prism. Like, we have about 20% of our membership is like of the whole of Sumo Group, which is 19 studios, 4 different locations, 1,700 odd people. I can't express how proud I am of this community. Like, they're wonderful, and I'm not going to get emotional. But I was working with them primarily, and there was a conversation at some point saying, well, I said, look, my recommendation when I am done with this contract is that you get someone in who is trained in this area to work full time, to manage this and to help you with your sort of strategic goals as a company. And they went, well, could that be you? And I went, well, it could be. It could be. Let's talk about it. And we did, and so
I remember when you got the job, because I got a big job at the same time. We were like,
I did. We were screaming,
and we have some security. Yes. Oh, it was wonderful. It was really wonderful. It was a moment. Yeah, I was so happy for you. I was so happy.
I was happy for you.
All the things, mate. And you won all the awards. I mean, like a year into Balance Patch, you won the award in Brighton and the.
I did. It was Game of Heroes. It's over there.
I was like, yeah, of course you did. Of course, Leon won it.
But it was weird. It was like, am I going to tell the story about Develop now? Because my first Develop, I spent crying on a beach in Brighton because I wasn't industry proper. This was the one where I think we hung out a fair bit, and we had a few ciders, and we had a fun time. and it was such a rough start, and it became just a beautiful experience. And then to come back like the next year or the year after and win an award at the very event that made me feel immediately welcome. I remember standing on that stage because I genuinely did not think I was going to get it. I was at the back of the room. I was chatting away. I was not paying attention. And they read my name and I went, oh, shit. And I stood there and I remember going, shit. So, and just ran. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's very embarrassing.
Look at that.
Like,
Couldn't
all
even
these
be asked
eyes
to make a
staring.
speech.
There's me going,
Rock star. Absolute rock star. I'm trying to think of the games that Simo's made. Remind me and
oh,
our viewers.
we worked on a bunch of stuff. Sumo is largely, because we are 19 studios, we have multiple different locations and folks who work on different things. We have worked on Snake Pass. We're working on Stampede. We've worked on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Our publishing arm has recently published Little to the Left. You really tested me. I'm like,
You
what
don't
have we
have to
done?
name all of them. That's plenty. You had me at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the
That's
one.
my first credit.
I made sure everyone felt safe as they got chainsawed to death. That's the
Oh,
sort
it's
of
a
fun
weird.
we like here.
It's an ironic one
Consensual
to get your
murder.
first credit.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks so much.
Aw. Was that? Were you the first? I don't want to go into it too much because I know, like, you work there and then you like it. So I don't want to me sound controversial, but like, was it? I mean, I imagine they wanted you there. That's why they employed you. I'm just wondering if there was
Yeah.
just a little bit of a rough start as people got used to the idea that you weren't the fun police.
No, I mean, because I think so far, and again, I know some of you are in the chat. I'm watching you. You know, there's a temptation, I think, to let this work get really heavy because it's heavy, it's serious, it affects people, it affects people's lives. And I think in some ways, like I am aggressively fun. I am aggressively, I want to make as many people feel comfortable talking with me as possible because the work is heavy, and I'm often asking people to handle topics that are uncomfortable or that sort of put people on the defensive. The sort of, oh, but have I done this? Am I part of the thing that's making people unhappy? And you have to kind of work through that sort of often white cis guilt and kind of do a bit of hand holding, and I mean this with love, to get to things. And I find if it's like you're all bad people and you should be ashamed of yourselves, it doesn't
You're not going to get
make
very
the change.
far.
Not in this context. No.
Yeah, and on the other hand, you can't pander it obviously as well because that sort of defeats the point. It's quite an interesting, precarious position you're in. But you're still there and you're still smiling, so it's
No,
this is great. I mean, has there been much discussion because of people like yourself going in full time? Because that role didn't exist that long ago. Has there been more call for it, or it might not be something that interests you, like how industry has taken to the role? Which is interesting.
I mean, I think it's a mixed bag. Oh no, content. When are we going to talk about layoffs? But
we're going to talk about layoffs. So that's happening. It's about trying to keep trying to keep the ball in the air as long as I can.
Yeah. I mean, it's a mixed one, because yes, there has been an uptick in interest, like the internal interest, certainly at Sumo Group and across here. Like there are folks who are so interested and so passionate. It's not just the people side; it's the game's content side. So there's a thirst and a desperation for it, and it's very genuinely. As far as roles specifically are concerned, I'm seeing full DEI departments just gone, and that's quite scary. It's not just for the.
It's the first to go, right? It was the
nice to have.
That's what it feels like. It's the nice to have.
Yeah, which is to me business-wise quite short-sighted because if we put our bigger picture vision on, our future talent is a collection of people who want better from the workplace, treat people better, and so that's a real desire. And where does that kind of better treatment come from? It comes from people who do this kind of work. So there's a short side note, get rid of it now. But when it comes to like, okay, well, that really talented person isn't going to come to your company because you haven't done this for your culture. You haven't invested in your culture to make it the place where they feel psychologically secure to invest their many hours and their talent with you. They're going to go somewhere else where they go, amazing benefits, endorsement from inside, great community. They're going they're going to go somewhere else. So if we're going like numbers, business, as opposed to yes, you
It's
should
always
do
so
this because it's
short
right.
term as well. That's what I don't understand. I know a little bit about Jack Welch, and that seems to be what everyone's still doing: acquire fire, run it
Mm.
into the ground, and do it all over again. And that seems to be the only way things are working. Sorry if I sound really ignorant, audience, but that seems to be what. There's no sort of long term. You just lose good people. You burn people out, and we're not resources. Even though there's a whole department called human resources. I mean, at least we know where we stand. But it's just vile. It really is. I would have thought with the dawn of AI, watching all the films and reading all the books I read would have made our lives a little bit easier. But no, they're going to plunge us into misery and poverty instead. Yeah, I'd rather that
The
doesn't
worst
happen.
timeline.
I know. And we've got to live it in real time as well. I remember my parents moaning about whatever decade, but that they could say that in a sentence. That'd be 10 years, but I'm living it and you're living. It's just like, can we not? I'm thinking, yeah, next couple of years are going to be rough
It's going to
before
be.
the whole AI bubble bursts, and it will. I think it will, but I think it's going to take time. And
Yes.
there's a lot of people who are investing money in this, and they're going to make sure it crashes and burns before they pull
We're in
back on it.
a really weird, precarious time where things are changing quite rapidly, and I think we will see, doom and gloom. I think it's going to be rough before it gets better, but I hope, because I have to, that it will get better. Yeah, like
Yeah,
why do this work if you can't?
yeah. No, I'm absolutely with you, and I think just not just obviously this stream on the internet. It's just people like humans to make things, and we like the idea of maybe getting more comfortable with time. The idea that our children will have a better life than we had. Crazy, radical thoughts like that. So, yeah, and I just think, again, it comes back to community. Again, it comes back to hanging out and just making sure we're all right. Because the big guys with the money are not doing that. That's the bottom line is, we know that it's line go up. That's the bottom line. But we are here for each other. And if we're not in person, we can do it online. And that's a beauty. That's at least something good about the technology.
So like I say, I'm bad at maths, but like sometimes I'm like, I don't understand the numbers. These numbers good, these numbers bad. People get laid off. What?
Yeah.
I'm bad at maths, but can someone explain? My family is starving. Why? billions
but
of
line go
billions of
up.
revenue. But why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's sad
Yes.
times.
Biggest entertainment industry. Yes, and it will continue to be big. Yeah. I don't. Um, you've been talking a lot about advocating for other people. Who advocates for you? Who is in your village?
In my personal village, it feels like my personal village. Zombies who chase me around because I've been playing far too much Resident Evil 4. You do not
The
want to see
zombies
how
who are
many
trying
hours
to
I've sunk
kill
in.
you
Well, it's a
are your
village.
advocates.
Yeah, well, they make me run. Who
That's good. That's motivating because you like being bullied into things.
I
We've
do,
established this.
and he's Leon too. So no, it's
Total immersion. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
who is in my corner? I mean, like who's in my village? I will say. I don't think you can hear me, but my civil partner is always.
You
in my
don't want
corner.
them to hear that. You love them, do you? Ugh.
Unfortunately, I've been with this guy for a long time, and I still love him. But he's thoroughly been there for me for everything. I'm not going to get emotional because stuff goes up and down and things are tough.
Yeah,
But
of
in
course.
2023 was a rough year, and he was there for me through some really hard times and always there. But again, people in this industry, like I think it's hard to explain how caring this industry is if you're not amongst it, because among us is that
Among
sort
us,
of
you're there an imposter.
because I didn't realize before I joined games that if you asked a question, people will rush to give you answers. Like they'll no, I've got an answer, and like the extent of like we will help is so genuine and like very surprising in the sort of the sense. So the friends that I have made in this industry, present company very much included, people in this chat, I see you, but very genuinely, they are people who, if I have a rough time, I can say, hey, do you want to get coffee? I could really use a coffee right now. They'll come out, and it's been unlike any community or sort of work environment I've been in. It's really special.
I'm
I mean,
glad.
they
I'm
all
glad.
suck.
Yeah, obviously. They're all here in the room, so you got to tell them that.
Having
It
an
seems to
emotion.
be. Yeah. But no, it's great. I love that. I love that you get that reflected back at you because, you're the one who's looking at it's literally your job to be, looking after everyone who's around you. So no, I'm really glad to hear that you're getting it at work as well as at home. That's really great. Um, we're gonna go for a ad break, not ad break, because no one has ads here. This is gentle socialism. None of your ads, Jeff Bezos. So what we do is when it's time to run the ads, I'll just run a break screen. We can all have a break. No one has to watch the dumb ads. But before we go, and for those of you that are new in the chat, if you've got questions for Leon, maybe based on what we've talked about, even silly ones, might not answer them, probably will. But do pop them in the chat during. Yeah, probably will. Do pop them in the chat during the break, and the mods will put them into a document, and we can answer from that. I'm just wondering because I've been totally ignorant. I've just shown I know nothing about anything. I'm wondering if there's something you've always wanted to be asked in your career. Like, yeah, that's it. So something burning that you're dying to talk about, but no one ever asks you.
Oh gosh, something other than pronouns. Anything but pronouns. Which is not to say that like pronouns aren't important; they are vitally important. But as I say, like it's another one of these like one of the things I'm like, yes, I have them, you have them, we have them, and you know, weirdly, anything that's also not to do with being trans, because there is a tendency to be like, Leon, there's a trans character in this game, and I'll go, that's great. That's great. I guess I'll be playing that.
Bully for you, because this year was the year of non-binary characters. I went, oh my god, there's like two in one year.
Oh, two?
Ah! It was like a couple months ago, just going, well, there's none. So yeah, and then we got Thirsty Seaters, and we've got Goodbye Volcano High. I think that's it. Someone will correct me in the chat. It's what chat's for, so I don't look like a complete idiot. Yeah, it's all good. That's a good one. Thank you for that. That's good. That's the point, you see. That's why it's good to know because it's true. Like, especially when I don't know, someone I don't want to use the word, but it's like someone's like exotic to you, and then of course then you get all the prodding, don't you? And I know they're curious in that, but we're not 10 anymore. Like
yes.
the tolerance for it can be quite short.
Search engines still exist, like to me, I'm in my late 30s now. I'm gonna out myself there. I am. This is not a brag. I'm at this point in my career. I'm financially stable. Touch wood.
Good.
I've
to hear it,
transitioned. So when folks come to me and say, "Oh, there's a trans character in this game," I'm like, "That's wonderful. That'd be wonderful for a much younger me." But actually, for me, my identity as a gay man is more important to me than my sense of myself as trans, which is not to say that my trans identity is not important. I will basically go, "Hello, hi, I'm Leon. I'm trans, by the way," because it would be so easy for me to just kind of slip into the majority of what this industry looks like, and I don't want to do that. It's very important to me that the woman I was very much informs the man I am today. I don't want to lose that. It's important, but my identity as a gay man is more important. So I'd much rather people say, "Hey, Leon, there's a gay man in this game." Start doing that. So recommend me some games with more.
They're about as rare as trans characters, aren't they, gay men?
I've
games.
About that. I mean, like thinking about, I've been genuinely thinking like which games have a gay male lead, and I this is no kind of slight to my bi friends, but like a gay man is I'm a gay man into men, like as a main character.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not yet. I don't think I've seen it. I'm sure there's some indies.
I'm sure.
But I said the great thing about this is that someone will drop it in chat.
Someone there.
Someone will drop it. I have faith in you, chat. We have faith in you. So think
Claire,
on.
I look like you could be your son. It's not been that long since we saw each other.
You reflect on that. We're going to go to break in a sec, or break for everyone. We'll have a pause. We'll stretch our legs. We'll have a pee if we need a drink. Do something fun. Why not? 5 minutes. I don't know. Unless you want longer, Leon, we'll have a chat. But think of your questions. Stick them in the chat. There's been some hefty donations, by the way, while we've been talking. So you're about to see that on the screen. And if you want to look at messages and everything, the link is !charity. And you can see a full page with the campaign and everything on there. And then if you've subscribed, thank you very much. That will scroll across the bottom of the screen with any luck, because this is the new technology. We'll see. See, talked a good game. Talked myself into a corner, didn't I? Anyway, on that bombshell, we'll go to break. And yeah, we'll see you in a few. All right. Look at these donations coming in. Wow, $1,700 for the Trans Empowerment Project. Wow, thank you very, very much. Great cause. We talked about at the beginning. If you want to know more about the charity, the Commanders Charity, and if you know what you're giving to, just donate. And there's I'm backwards on the screen tonight. That way, towards just above Leon's shoulder, there is a QR code if you wish to. Other way. That's it. We've all mirrored our cameras the wrong way. You get the picture. We're going to milk it a bit. Yes, you've got the command, you've got that. And then if you're on desktop and you're feeling fancy, you don't even have to navigate away. You can do it in the Tiltify app. It's very good. I enjoyed installing that. The nerd in me is still there. We're going to go to Q&A now. It's a bit controversial in here. The very first question, there's a little bit of trepidation from both of us, but this is Korma Chameleon, already starting with the food. You right? Do you want to breathe? Are you okay? Yeah, okay, we'll go straight in. Is Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit?
All right. We were kind of bracing ourselves a bit like, oh, I'm gonna go cake. It's to do with the texture. I don't know how. I know that most of you folks in the chat are of the US persuasion, and I don't know how many of you actually had Jaffa cakes, but they are definitely spongier.
Korma Chameleon says sorry in advance if things get heated. Well, you started it. You started the war. And for the Americans, you don't even know what the hell we're talking about. Sorry, but this is going to take about half an hour to clear. Actually, I agree with you. It's a cake. No. I think by law it's a cake. That's a really boring answer, but it was to do with the tax, and they had to prove that. It's to do with if it went stale or not. Like a biscuit will go soft, but a cake goes hard, something like that. Someone will correct us in chat.
And I think when they're fresh, it's too spongy for my liking for it to be a biscuit. Yeah. So that's where we're going.
It's a mini cake, all right. Yeah. Someone said spiritually. Spiritually, it's a biggie.
You know what? I'll take that. I think it is a cake, but spiritually.
A queer coven, I think, agrees with me. I got it the other way around. But yeah, one goes stale and the other one goes soft. That's it. Biscuits go soft, yeah. Solved. See you next week. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Viking Nerd wants to know all about the collection behind you.
Oh gosh.
Is your whole room that cool? I can testify it is from what I've seen when we've chatted and you've had a wider
I suppose I am gonna do it. So unfortunately this is what happens when we have adult money and we've been a weeb since we were 12. So
you have a very sympathetic audience, so
I do. I'm also going to say, because figure collecting community, some of you get dramatic. If any of you are in here, do not come for me for my choices. There's no Nekapara here.
Mods are going to keep this safe. It's going to be okay. Right.
So we've got some D-Grey, some Shonen stuff. We've got some D-Grey. I'm a big Fate fan. I am Fate trash, and I'm Evangelion big fan. So you'll see some of the other stuff over there.
Oh my god! Look at this display cases. It's like Forbidden Planet in there.
So don't look at me on this. But yeah, that's the look so far. Of the backup. I mean, my goal was always to have an office that would make my 14-year-old self jealous, and I think I've managed it. I think
you have. It's always nice when you get something new and you go, yeah, I was denied that all my life. I'm really gonna overdo it now. That's what I'm doing. It makes me happy.
Yes. Yeah, there's also things that were sort of near and dear to my heart, like when I was, because there was a period in my life when I had £100 to my name each month, and I definitely do not forget those times. Those were rough times. What do we call it? That sort of guilt when you move out of that red line, difficult month-to-month period, and then you have some disposable income. It's very real, and I don't take it for granted 1 second. But also, when I came into this, I was like, okay, what were the series that really impacted me? And I went back through my back catalogue of merch I wanted to get, and I was like, this Fullmetal Alchemist, so near and dear to my heart. Evangelion so near and dear to my heart. When I was in high school, I was the same age as the pilots, and as I've grown, I've outgrown them. But when I was trying to grapple with my sort of sense of gender, the girls around me were different, I was different, and Asuka was a feminine, unfeminine character who I really means a great deal to me. She's best girl. Start a fight in the chat, but
do it. Let's have some controversy for once.
Yeah, come on. But no, so it was very like, okay, I want something to represent each sort of thing that mattered to me, and the collection groweth.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're not a tattoo kind, are you? Because some people get
I'm
tattoos.
not. No,
Yeah,
because
I'm not
I'm
a
a
tattoo
wuss.
type.
I'm a wuss. I want to be. Because I'm like, that's so cool.
I'm
But I feel,
flaky.
yes.
I'm just flaky. I'm gonna get bored of it. I
No,
know.
someone's gonna come near me and go, whoa, and it's gonna go bad.
Well, I think you impressed Viking Nerd who asked to see they were doing heart eyes in the chat.
That's what I want.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we wanted. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's quite the collection. Ash, but not Ketchum, says, what motivates you?
Motivates me. Oh gosh, this is going to be really cliche, but I think it's I felt like I had to get really tough really early to be when I came out as trans in particular, and I just don't want people to have the same kind of experience as I do. I want them to, life is hard enough, and if I can make things a bit easier, then that's what I want to do. I'm very grateful that folks feel comfortable enough to come to me with their issues, with their problems, and to say when something that I've done directly or indirectly has helped or impacted them. But it's for that kind of legacy piece. It is that sort of leave the world better than you found it, and my firm belief that I didn't have role models like me. Lots of white people, so in that regard, loads of people who look like me, but also not many trans men when I was growing up. Not much visibility of that. And now I'm like, I'm out, I'm loud, I'm gonna make sure people know that I'm here. I'm in quite a senior position in the industry now, and I want people to say like, hey, it is possible, it is viable. This world is tough, but that sort of seeing the differences that the work that I do makes, that's what makes me want.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Mush.
No, that's what we're here for. Luke Valves has a question. As a co-worker in a fully remote scenario, how can I support fellow co-workers? Sometimes it feels a tad cold when it's just rushing through meetings. And the same way I like feeling supported, I would like to be a better supporter of others in the workplace, especially being a queer white woman. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for the, and actually thank all of you for the questions. Some of these are fantastic, and I think that's a really vulnerable type question. So thank you. I think in general, like, even if it's taking a moment to say, "How are you doing?" Yeah, should we take a moment? Like they're not so rushed that we can't say, "How are we doing? How are we feeling? What's the vibe check?" etc. I think I put some of our execs on the back foot. I'm like, "How are you? Tell me about your plant in the background there." And they're like, because they're very used to business. I'm like, no, it's plant. Yes, now.
I've
tell
been
me.
there. Everyone was miserable, including me. Do carry on about how we could have done better and actually maybe checked in with each other.
Yeah,
not pretended there wasn't a problem.
Yeah, and I think it's that sort of, for me at least, it's that willingness to, if you have to derail a meeting because actually things are shit, you derail that meeting. That meeting can be rescheduled. Like, right, time. We'll reschedule later in the day, whatever, next week, whenever we have to have it. Let's talk. Because that's work too. It's that sort of it's interpersonal management with each other, and sort of, because we do our best work when we are okay and we're supported. But I think on the kind of additional level on that, I had someone ask me recently, like, well, how do I support people better? There's so much to learn in this inclusion thing. And I said, just be considerate. You don't have to know everything. Just the sort of like, how are you doing? Tell me how things are with you, because or you might have read something in the news and that actually a member of your team is gay or trans or non-binary, and like, hey, I heard about this thing that happened in the world. I hope this isn't overstepping, but are you okay? Do you need to talk? Do you need some space? Do you need some, what can I do? Can I help? And sometimes it'll be like nothing, or, just thanks for asking. But it's that baseline consideration goes such a long way. Like that's why I'm kind of leaning away from DEI and inclusion as a thing. It's just be considerate. It's anyone can do.
That's the point, isn't it? Like, if we all were, then well, I guess you'd be out of a job. But that's not. But you help the policy. It's fine. It's fine. But you know what I mean? If we bloody looked after each other a bit better, that would do a lot of the work at the end of the day.
But to be honest, like, I want a day when I don't have to.
I remember hearing about mental health first aid through you, because do you want to talk a little bit about that? That's my question. Yeah. There you go. Very selfish, because I'm really interested in that. And is that something that a civilian like me can learn and practice?
Yeah. I mean, I am a mental health first aider. I'm also a suicide first aider. And it is something that anyone can learn. It's heavy stuff, and I think it's that sort of preparedness and that sort of skill set to be able to listen compassionately, to listen with a sort of pulled backness, because we as people, I think, have this impulse like, I can fix it, I can help you, and to rush in like, oh, hey, let me tell. But I think a lot of what mental health first aiding is to learn to listen and not respond immediately, and ask questions. Tell me about this. Do you, what kind of support can we get? Like, how overwhelmed are you? Do you need help sourcing through resources, or help to sort of a bullet point list of how we go through things. I have to imagine that the fabulous mental health charity Safe in Our World probably would be a wonderful group of humans to contact around sort of mental health first aid. It is, I think it's very on theme with that it takes a village. We are in a world that unfortunately, medical care, mental health care in sort of a institutional sense is reducing and lacking and vanishing. And so how do we support each other with the awareness as well, that old metaphor of you've got to have your life jacket on first before you help other people. So it's a, do not put yourself in a position where you cannot take on the distress of somebody else if it is going to drag you down with them, which sounds harsh, but it's not. It's self-preservation as much, because otherwise you both drown. And
where do you go? Yeah. Someone's just asking if there's like a certification you can get for. I just imagine there's courses. Is that right?
There are some. I did mine through a company called Living Works. I don't know if they still are existing. I imagine they are, and there will be organizations that offer sort of certificates and whatnot. I think they'll probably vary based on location. I can only tell you in the UK.
I was going to say, I imagine it'd be a Google in your region. I think like something like mental health first aid is so specific. I think you'd be able to get what you need there. Yeah. Systinator says, has other people's attitude to inclusion and belonging evolved over the past few years?
Yes. I'm trying to think of a succinct way that doesn't. It has, and it hasn't. Moving into games, I had to adjust my thinking and awareness, because academia was in a different place when it came to sort of inclusion work. Like it had gone through various stages and various kind of places of understanding. Whereas games as an industry, we are quite young as an industry, and I mean that both like it often feels like if companies were personified, I feel like I'd be talking to 16-year-old to 20-year-old boys with lots of money who are like, screw you, I can do what I want there, and that's difficult at times as a structure. So I feel at times I've had to sort of step backwards with some of the ways that I would work with people that I felt like, oh, we've moved past this. Things like, imagine your niece or your daughter. Would you want her coming in? And that to me is so. Imagine a woman. Just it feels
imagine
so
a
like
woman being hurt.
Imagine a woman.
Is human.
How empathy. It feels very, very, very weird. But I think in games, particularly as far as like inclusion work evolving is concerned, there's a kind of push and pull going on where we've got folks who are very conscious and very conscientious about
Mm.
the need to do better, and folks who have been in the industry longer and kind of, well, I've got mine. What's the problem? Almost. So there's
I
that kind of awe
struggled.
scare. Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
bootstraps,
yeah.
and that sort of like trying to bring those parts together. But then on the other side, there's the, well, will it make money? Will it make money?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes. Actually, the answer is yes.
Yes.
And then the other side, it's the gamers TM who are like, go woke, go broke, and I'm like, that's not true.
I mean, that's just something they're saying. It's not based on any data. I mean, I know that psychological safety is the number one factor in whether a team will be successful or not. Google have done some very famous research. I've read it because I was working in that area, and it's nothing to do with background, race, sexuality, any of the general disability, class, nothing. If people feel safe in a room, they feel safe to make mistakes and they feel safe to call things out. That's
and safety to make mistakes, like like this is something I found as well. That coming from academia as well into games, this sort of, as an industry, and I'm speaking, I've worked with a lot of studios, so this isn't a singular thing. Like, as an industry, there is an absolute fear to get it wrong, and so therefore, there's both a fear to get it wrong and a fear to admit when we don't know something.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's a strength. If someone says, "Hey, Leon, this question," and I'll go, don't know the answer to that yet. Let's find out. Whereas games it wants to be such an expert, it can't be seen to not know. It must know. It's like, yeah, of course we know, of course we know, of course we know.
Yeah.
And I think
That's really dangerous.
it's dangerous.
It's really dangerous. I've been around people who very confidently know they're saying the wrong thing, and it's so dangerous.
That quintessential, the confidence of a straight white man.
I try to carry myself with the confidence of a mediocre straight white man every day. Because wow, I've seen some shockers. My God, they're confident. My God, they're confident. Wow.
I've had some interesting moments where folks don't realize that I'm trans, and like there will be femme folks standing with us, and they'll walk away, and then the tone and the conversation will shift, and I'm like, mate, and it's a weird shift and dynamic. But I think as far as like the question, like industry has the attitude of inclusion, belonging changed. I think it's less, I hate to say it like this, but less trendy. There was a period of like, look what we've done. We've hired a person. We're doing a thing. We're doing this. And I think there's now a bit of a trepidation to continue with that trend, as opposed to like, no, you continue to invest, you pivot, you shift, maybe you change. But that sort of being seen to be in the right is a influx, I would say. If that's an answer.
Great answer. There's been very good answers tonight. Chat is feeling inspired. I can see that. Lol Guy asks, how would you recommend startup companies, for example, out of university, make sure they treat everyone in them well? Everyone goes into making studios with the best intentions, but sometimes the environment can slip into toxicness between work culture or workflow issues that burn us out. So I'm interested in your thoughts.
I mean, you don't need to have a massive resource to treat people well. I think that one of the sort of misconceptions is, we've got to have a resource, we've got to do this, but actually baking into, consideration into how you act with each other and how you conduct yourself with people. It's like building a muscle. It's going to take time to build up, to sort of like make it part of your routine, make those sort of check-ins, make those sort of like, how are we feeling, how are we doing? But also I think being confident enough to say, that's bang out of order. We don't do that here. That's not what we're about. But having that sort of space to because I think as marginalized folks, we can tell when someone is genuinely well-meaningly ignorant, if that makes sense. We can tell when someone is being a prick, and we can tell when someone is playing silly buggers, where they're pretending they're being nice, but we know they're being an asshole. And I think it's sort of being able to shift from the "oi, pack it in," to the I think we should have a conversation about why that conversation went this way, in private, out of the way, to build on that sort of teaching and growing culture, because when you just kind of wave a finger, so oh, that was bad, they're going to pull back in, they're going to get
Yeah.
really defensive, and they're going to double down. And
Mm-hmm.
and largely they'll double down on the people who are most vulnerable. So that sort of
Don't
bringing
suggest.
that culture again, that culture of we're all learning. It's okay to get things wrong. You know, when I did workshops, I still do workshops. When I do teaching workshops, I would say, hey, this is, you know, a language amnesty is in place. You come with the language you know, come as you are. As we go through,
Yeah.
I might share with you why some languages historically changed now or what the history behind it is, but come in as you are. Warning to everyone, some folks might use some outdated language. That's okay. This is the learning
Yeah, we
space.
have to discuss it. Because if you just
Yeah,
sort of go, no, everything you said is wrong, and I'm going to throw a whole load of new words at you, and you have
yeah,
to do them,
absolutely.
that's when you get that resentment and the us and them. And
Yeah.
yeah,
But there's also that
good
there are
tip.
sometimes places where it's just like, pack it in. That's not what we do here. That's not what we're about.
Because
And
you
if
have
you,
to judge what,
yeah,
where someone's coming from. And if it's with bad
absolutely,
intentions, then they get slapped with a ban hammer,
absolutely.
slapped in a legal way. Chat, don't at me. You won't. You won't. I know we're all on the same side here. And a fun one. What's your favorite underrated game?
Oh, so I am waiting. It's never going to happen. I am waiting for a remake of the PlayStation 1 game, Psychic Force. 3D fighter in a kind of a 3D square box. Oh, it was great. I loved it. And also Eternal Sonata. Wildly underrated. Fabulous games.
Amazing. Josephine Bird, friend of the show from the It Is Complicated podcast, says, thanks for the great conversation. Question: it sounds like you use humor to navigate some of the resistance or difficulties that potentially heavy topics can cause in your work. Would you mind talking a bit more about any particular ways you do that?
Shakespearean jesters are my strongest inspiration.
Oh, the ones who are
Because
allowed to say what they actually want to, yeah, under
yes,
the
because
guise of being a fool.
yes, and you know, to me, this is very much it's a conscious tactic. You know, I use very self-deprecating humor. I don't make fun of anybody else. That is not what we do. That is not how we play. I'm the fool. You know, I'm the idiot. Um, so you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a bit of a moron.
Mm.
Just a cute little gay boy, which I say kind of teasingly, but it's
But
very
it's true, you are a cute gay boy. I mean, that's just a fact. It's a
my
fact.
dog
Your
says
dog
woo woo.
agrees with you. Your dog
Could you not?
agrees with you.
But I think it's very much a sort of, you know, my professional mode is sort of comfort. You know, I don't want people to feel so comfortable that they can get away with shit, but I want them
Mm.
to feel comfortable enough that they can make progress together and that they can trust that they can speak to me about things if they are someone who's more privileged, but they're scared to do or say something wrong or what have you. And
Yeah.
I feel it's again, I think you get more out. People, I think, assume that this work is heavy, and I've said it before. It is heavy, but they also assume it's humorless or that it's not. That there can't be fun and there
Mm.
can't be joy. And you know, I much rather prefer to make jokes about myself at my expense or turn things around because the more comfortable you make the space, the more comfortable people are to learn and to come along and to sort of come on that journey because you're like, I've got you. Don't worry, we're going to have a good time here. It will get serious sometimes, but I got you. And yeah, employ the jester.
Yeah. I love it. They're like a wise sage. This is the old, seriously, like the recorded philosophers use humor to teach. It's well, they teach in riddles and it's a wonderful thing if you can actually do that quite naturally, which I think you do. Um, Ash, but not Ketchum is asked another question. Do you think age matters when it comes to joining the game industry? I'm 30, Leon. 30? Oh dear.
Oh
I'm
no,
being
oh no.
sarcastic,
Yeah,
chat, just in case. No, 30 is no bloody age. What you say? Sometimes I feel I'm too old, but I have to remind myself I'm really not. Lol. It ended with
no.
a laugh. 30 is not too old. What do you say the average age is? I mean, you've met a few people. I mean, it's
I would.
youngish.
It is pretty young, like you kids in your 20s. I mean, we are a young industry. Like you know, statistically, we kind of cap out at, or not cap out, I should say, like you know, the
Burnout.
Burnout. Yeah.
Burn out
There,
around
there.
mid-30s.
Oh,
There's all those women that have the babies who never come back. They
oh,
never
no,
come back,
come back.
Leon.
I need to come back. I didn't join the games industry until I was maths 35, 34, somewhere in that road. So I was already too old for 30 under 30. So I'm always very jealous.
It's fucking tragic when I found out about that. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's like, oh
Are you
gosh.
kidding me?
But it is a young industry, you know,
But I think
like the majority.
that's a really good point, actually. Media-wise, it ends at 30. Like, they keep telling us it's young. And that you go to a talk and that someone in 50s and 60s are telling you how they made the game, and they do exist. But I know the trend isn't there so much. But I know it's young, but it's not yesterday.
Yes.
But yes, 30 under 30 doesn't always help. What about like
No,
60 over 60? That's what I would. Sorry, I
we
interrupted.
wouldn't fit that one either, though.
Thoughts.
No. But I do think there is. I think it is a good point. You know, like I'm always in awe of how like talented the younger folks are. But there is this kind of like it drops off, and there's this sort of sense that like, you know, I'm also I'm going to say this, and I mean it with no disrespect, but I worry about such a young industry with sort of rushing to get experience in what is a very volatile, very scary, very demanding industry, and it chews and spits people out at times. There's the stuff that I don't enjoy about our industry, and I think I was talking to a friend actually a while back. I said I'm glad I didn't join the games industry in my 20s. I'm really glad. Like I'm glad I had that life experience, that sort of other career experience, because I can come into studios and say, you're missing this. I love you doing this, but where's your infrastructure for this? That's quite standard in other industries. Why don't you have it? Safeguarding policies, for example, or it's like that.
Is that sorry? Is that a choice then? Is that not a legal requirement to have safeguarding policies?
Not necessarily. I mean, it depends on the country, it depends on the education, but also, you know, yeah, it depends.
And then you've got the fact that games missed the whole union thing in the 80s when that got shut down, so there's no precedent.
Join a union.
So then you've got to go join a union. I'll say it clearly. It's time now. If there wasn't in whatever industry you're in, please join a union, because collective power is going to be much more than burning out or going crazy thinking no one else is in the same boat as you. Just trust me, it works. It's good. It's good. It's good. It just works. And then you've got to be in the union. You can't just moan at that the union aren't running things properly. You've got to get involved as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules. Join
You'll do things. Join in and get involved. Unions are great.
You've got to, unions historically are great. That's why they've sort of been stomped on. But if you don't know, in the UK, our games industry is completely unregulated, thanks to there being no precedents in law. Because when the ban hammer came down on the unions in the 80s, that was games industry wasn't running in the way that it is now, and certainly not to the amount of money that's going through it and the hours required. So yeah, that's what you have. So you can kind of get them on the legals. That's why I was asking, like safeguarding was more of an EU law or something like that. But it sounds like it's a nice to have.
The EU, come back.
Please come back.
Please come back. Let us back in.
So no, then there's the answer. Okay, fair enough. We've got a silly one, so that's good. I think you should read this one because I think this is something you know how to say, and I'm going to get it wrong. Yeah, there you go.
I did.
Go.
So
the floor is yours.
An omelette fromage. Love that. By no means a serious question, but I've got to ask: human, Norn, Silvari, Char, or Azra? For folks who don't know, this is a Guild Wars 2 question. All right.
I told you someone would know.
So, of course.
There's quite a few in chat. Very happy you mentioned
it. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I main a human thief, thieves all the way. However, the majority of my account is Silvari.
And that means something to someone out there, and very pleased for me. I love it when someone outnerds me. It's not hard. I do try. I'm a generalist. That's the problem. I haven't got a specific obsession. But I hope you're happy with that answer. Yeah, Nominate Fromage is laughing in robot in the chat now. You're forgiven, they're saying. I think this might be the last one, unless if you're thinking about it, get it in quick, because I think this might be the last one. Loki Trickster says, kind of kind of generic question, but what would your advice be for someone trying to find their passion stroke career that they enjoy? Because it just seems like a lot of people will make it seem like there's a lot of pressure to find it right away.
So when I was looking to change careers, I also looked at the publishing industry. I was very like, I love stories. Stories are mean so much. And I found that publishing was not going to be my home. And it's entirely okay to take time. It's entirely okay to give something a try. It's entirely fine to stay with something for a while and then feel that times have changed. There is no rush. And I would say this also, not just about career stuff, but I had a young trans guy come to me and say, like, I have to get on hormones. I have to, how do I get this as quickly as possible? And I said, you don't need to. Like, I didn't go on testosterone until I was in my early 30s. I was out as trans for, from my early 20s. So I had about a good 8 years where I was socially transitioning, but I took a long time to decide that I wanted to go on hormones. I said, you do not have to rush. So it's career. I think it's life advice that it is A, never too late. B, you will change your mind. Things will change. Things will evolve. Life will change. Life will evolve. And that is okay. I'm doing the work I'm doing, sort of inclusion and belonging right now. I don't want to do it forever. I want to do something else. Over time, I want to make space for new folks to come up with new ideas, with new knowledge, with new expertise, with more energy. 30s under 30. I want a whole team of 30 under 30 by the time. But it's getting comfortable, I think, with the idea that things will change, and if they don't change, that is also okay. If that's what you want, there is no pressure to do that. It's take your time, do what's best for you, do what you can within your means, contact people, get in touch with people, connect with people. Take time. There is no rush. It's not a race. Not a race.
Yes, it's not a race. That's amazing advice. Thank you so much, and thanks for taking the time out to come and chat on It Takes a Village tonight.
No.
Really engaged the chat, and our wonderful viewers have been listening, rapt, as well as some of people you work with. I think that.
Yes.
So I hope you'll get some feedback tomorrow, but I think it will all be good. It's incredible. You've been spitting facts all evening in the most gentle, loving, kind of hardcore way. I love it. I love the whole package. It's wonderful. Thank you so much tonight. And I think
thank you.
We'll end this one. Sorry?
I said thank you. It's been glorious. Like your community has been so welcoming, so kind. What a lovely village.
Thank you very much. And I'll see you soon at a thing, I imagine. I hope so.
Yes.
Anyway, it's been too long.
We will. Yes.
Okay. Well, with that, we're going to say goodbye to Leon, and we shall roll credits. So thank you. Look at that total. $1,860 to the Trans Empowerment Project. This is the first in, I guess, 4 weeks of this kind of thing. Next week, we're going to have another guest, and then we'll be playing some Life is Strange and crying with our lesbian friends and ruining lives all over the Midwest. I think it's the Midwest. I'm going to get executing now. Thank you to Leon. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to all of you. And hopefully we're going to raid. We're going to raid someone. I have no idea. But thank you to everyone who's given so generously tonight. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to the Trans Empowerment Project too. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. Hopefully we'll raid. Who knows what's going on? I don't know. But thank you and good night. I'll see you next time.